Welcome, welcome. As the title would suggest, what we are talking about is the number one reason coaches fail. And essentially, this whole thing is going to be boiled down to one thing. Basically, a lack of accountability for your situation and placing blame instead of taking responsibility. And then we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to essentially talk about how to actually get people in, because this is also kind of goes hand in hand with that, about doing what's called outreach, or basically getting people to come and work with you, meeting new people so they can come work with you, if that's right to do so. So, number one thing, first and foremost, most coaches realize this to a degree, that they're not doing what's needed. They're not doing the right things, and that's okay. Because most of us are not taught those things. So I don't say any of this in a judgmental way, but the way the PT courses are done, the way the world is, it's almost like you're set up to not know how to succeed at business. Because PT courses don't teach it. Like all the coaches that I've talked to, you have to go to external mentoring from it. I don't think it should be that way, but that's the way it is. So we have to take the world and ourselves for how the way it is. So that's one of the biggest things, but the issue with that is we're always going to have deficits in our skills. The biggest thing is placing blame. So in general, people place blame in three different places, either on other people, on external circumstances, or on themselves. Now, as coaches, we all do that. We do this, and this is one of the biggest downfalls that I see from coaches. They are not getting clients at a gym, and a new trainer comes along and the new trainer starts getting clients, or there's a trainer that's keeps clients. I was actually talking to a guy about this today, one of my fellow coaches. We just caught up and chatted about it, and he was telling me about how at a gym, I'm not going to name anyone or what gym it is, but at a gym, this girl came along and she was getting lots of clients, and what the PTs did is they brought in cookies for everyone except her. Like, how crazy is that? Like, you're so spiteful about it that you would leave someone out because of the fact that they're doing better in business than you are and you're not getting clients. So it's literally this very common phenomenon that we see that coaches do, where you're like, that guy, like, they're doing this and that, and like, I just want to despise them and reject them, and they're an outsider because they're successful. Because they're getting in clients, and they're like, it's not my fault. They're the ones that are taking all the clients. But we very often, so that's blaming someone else. We don't say, what is that person doing right? And that's probably one of the biggest things that we can do. You look at all of these people that, even if you don't like them, they're doing something right by way of getting their name out there. And we don't necessarily have to do it the same way as them. We can do it in our own unique, ethical way. But for example, you look at guys like Liver King. It's the current classic example that's going on. That will date this episode. But Liver King, Grant Cardone and that kind of thing, not saying they're necessarily the same, but they get a lot of their publicity through just getting their name out there. So everyone's like, hating on these guys, even Alex Hormozy and that kind of thing, like hating on these guys, being like, these guys suck, they're just like snake oil salesmen, they're just scamming you. And I mean, obviously one of those guys is. But it's like, they don't look at what are they doing right. And another example is I saw a page that's supposed to coach coaches post this, and yes, maybe it's a bit of a meme, but basically they were saying, they listed out like, coaches offer health and fitness, coaching, fat loss, all this includes this is this, the accountability on one side, and then the other side, it's like, on the coach's side, it's all these things, and then no one signs up to buy when you put it out up there. And then on the other hand, on the other side of that picture that they had, it was essentially like fitness influencer, just takes pictures on social media, does this, puts out there, buy my $1,500 Build a Booty program. Everyone's like, where do I sign up? Like, how do I pay? And the thing is, that's a big issue. And I think that scenario example really highlights the issue that there is with what's going on in the coaching thing. Because you're just blaming other people and being like, they suck, they're doing this, they're getting all this business this way, and it's not right. But think about, what are they doing right? What are they doing right? And a lot of that is building up trust, with the audience in that scenario. They're building up trust because people are bought into them. Whether or not that program and selling it that way is ethical, we're not talking about that. These are independent things that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that they're doing something well by way of their marketing and their messaging, because they've got a product someone wants and they're advertising it or marketing in a way that makes people want to buy it. Because it's like people are bought into that influencer and being like, oh, I want to get the results that they have. So that's not to say that you have to show your butt off if you want to sell beauty programs. But there's trust because there's a personality, there's a look, that kind of thing. Whether or not that trust is a founded and good trust to have is a different thing in and of itself. But there is trust. And we have to look at that because they are doing something right. And that's why they do so well. But if we just blame them and be like, it sucks, they're doing the wrong thing, this and that, we never take on that, or we tend not to take on that attitude of, or ask ourselves that question, what are they doing right? What can I do? What are they doing that I'm not, that I could apply for myself in my own way that's ethical? Oh yeah, so coming back to it, with the example where coaches, this coach has gone to a gym, I think she was new there, and she started getting a lot of clients. But the biggest thing is, what was she doing right? Whether or not you agree with her getting business or not is another thing, but why would you not want another coach to be successful? A lot of the time that's because people see them as competition and they're like, there's another coach here, I can't get clients. But it doesn't work that way. So, because of like how I've explained before, it's your mind. But what she was doing well, and this is what a lot of coaches don't do, both online and face-to-face, is she was doing what's called outreach. She was putting herself out there. So even if you're not a super social person, getting out there, talking to people at the gym, being like, hey, what can I help you with? Giving out some free advice if it's solicited, if they're cool with it. And just talking, getting your face out there, running things, putting things up there, having fun, creative ideas, saying hi to people, making yourself a part of that gym culture. That is huge for building up trust with people. And as a result, she's consistently got new people that she's meeting and that she is starting to work with. And she's getting more clients that way. But it's the willingness to put yourself out there. Because the biggest thing is a lot of PTs do this and a lot of businesses do this. This is the biggest downfall. They're just like, I'm going to build it and everyone will come. Like, I'm going to be a PT and I'm just going to get like heaps of people coming on being like, I want to work with you. You might get a little, in my entire time of being a coach so far, the 3.5 years, I've probably had that happen like 2% of the time is like you get people come up to you like that. And that's great. And then they're bought in and you can go accordingly to that. But that's what people expect the majority of it to be, when in fact the majority is actually getting yourself out there. And it doesn't have to just be through social media, because outreach and putting yourself out there has existed prior to that. So if you're face-to-face at a gym, the biggest thing to do is talk to people. Stand at reception, don't be on your phone. Talk and have genuine conversations with people. Greet people as they come in. Say bye to people as they leave. Ask what session people are doing whilst they're on the way in. Strike up a conversation. And it might not feel comfortable, but getting yourself exposure to that, you will develop the skill. And if you want to be a coach, it is necessary if you're just doing face-to-face. Or if you want to be successful at face-to-face, you've got to find your own version of doing that in a way that is genuine for you. So that's important to do. That's one of the traits. And then obviously you've got to have the skills to be able to be like, hey, come work with me, essentially, if it's right. But by striking up the conversation, just talking to them in the first place, leading through that lens of helping and serving them, the advice more often than not is they need help with something. And then you can show them your value there. So, but the point is, they're not going to know that in the first place if they never get exposure to you. Because a lot of the time PTs like, people should be coming to me. And it just doesn't work like that. It's a very entitled way of thinking about things that obviously doesn't work. Because it's like if you built a gym, people build gyms and just nobody comes. You've got to do your outreach and that kind of thing. Get yourself out there. And then eventually, after a period of time, your reputation can speak for itself and that can build. But why would anyone trust you in the first place when they don't even know you? They've never even seen you. They don't even know about coming to work with you. So that's where the outreach side of things is useful. And if you're face-to-face, then that's also like walking around the gym floor, giving some advice, just saying hi, striking up conversations. Don't be awkward about it. Don't linger longer than it needs to. You'll pick up on this the more you do it. Some people are more in tune with that kind of thing. Others aren't. But the more you do it, the more in tune you're going to get with it. You'll know when, okay, this conversation's done. I'm gonna go now. Otherwise, this person doesn't want to chat. And then other times you'll be able to tell this person really wants to chat. Have a chat with them. if you feel so inclined. But that's basically outreach by way of face-to-face. Now, when it comes to online, the outreach that most people don't do is, because people don't like doing it, is DM outreach, cold outreach. You can do warm outreach, but basically messaging people, because people just expect, they'll just come and everyone will message me and say that they're keen to work with me. No, it just doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to do things to expand your reach, and using social media or being online is a great way to do that. It's a tool, essentially. And it's the same principle, but just the specific practice is different. So that's why I say the principles of business are all the same, no matter what profession. It's just the specifics that vary. So when it comes to outreach, so something I do is I'll strike up conversations with people, but don't come across like a salesperson. You don't want to have what people call commission breath. Because if you just go in there and you're like, I'm going to get this person to work with me, you don't even know if they're the right fit for you. But if you go in there and you're all about the money, people pick up on that straight away. But if you go in there, we all know it, where it's like the messages that people send you, hey, how's it going, so-and-so? I've got this great product or this advertiser and they want to go through this, and just delete or block. Conversation done. Nothing there. But think about how normal interactions start up with people. You just say hi. Hey man, I noticed that you train at this gym. How's training going? Is one of the ones that I use. Or react to their story or message, or be like, oh hey, I saw that you do this, or like they post something about noodles or something. But going out there, that's huge, because you're building a genuine human connection and doing that through the lens of serving. So if you're like, I'm genuinely reaching out, just having conversations with people because I might be able to help some people, I might be able to help them, that is a great thing to do. But for some reason, a lot of the time we allow our ego to get in the way and be like, I can't. I just don't like doing that kind of thing, or it feels seedy. But you can do it in an ethical way. A lot of the time we're just blaming something external so that we don't have to take action. And I'm not trying to blame you for that, but if that's you and that resonates with you, you need to take responsibility for that if you want your business to be successful. If you want your business to be unsuccessful, or if it's already being proven to you that it's the route that you're going down is unsuccessful, and if you want it to continue that way, then don't take on any of this advice. Like, if you don't want your business to be successful, don't heed the things that I'm saying to you. But this is coming from someone who has done this and has built up a very successful coaching business. And another thing is blaming external circumstances. So placing blame elsewhere instead of taking responsibility. External circumstance, easiest one to think of in relation to a gym is, the gym's not giving me enough leads. But in the entire time that I was working face-to-face at gyms, at other gyms, I probably got like 2 leads a month, and that's not enough at most. And some days it was one a month. Sometimes it was 1 a month, 1 every 2 weeks or something like that. Well, that's 2 a month. But the thing is, I wasn't just depending on that. I was going out there, putting myself out there so I can create the leads for myself, and then anyone else who comes in through the gym is a bonus. But by you doing that, you also, this is what I'll talk about in another video, is you create stability for yourself, because you have control over how many people are coming into your circle and how many people you interact with. If you wait for the gym, that is so subject to fluctuations that you are at the whim of other things and you have less control. So going out there, getting your name, face out there, and building relationships with people is the number one thing there. And you can get creative with it. You don't only have to do the 2 ways I've said it, but the principle applies. Getting yourself out there. For example, with the cleaning company that we've helped Vincent, or Yana's younger brother, and Hamong, they've started that up. They do outreach. They go out, they chat to people, and we're building a team to help with that as well. But the fact is, you have to do that. You can't just be like, we're a cleaning company, people are just going to come to us. You have to go out there, you talk to people, you do your advertising. And the biggest thing is, a lot of PTs don't want to pay, and they think, I have to do advertising. They're like, the only reason I can't get clients is I can't do advertising. And that's wrong. That is not true at all. That is not the reason. And chances are, if that's what you're thinking, your advertising is going to suck and you're just going to blow your money on something. That's what I see a lot of the time, because they're not getting their message right. But the biggest thing is that, again, that's blaming something external. There's nothing from stopping you from going out to the shops and talking to people, just striking up conversations, being, hey, I'm a coach, by the way. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's like, I don't have the most creative examples, but that's what I do. Nothing's stopping you from doing that in a gym, a physical location area. Nothing's stopping you from using social media. Think about how people did all these things back in the day. The successful people, they all do this. It's a common characteristic, a common thing that they do. So success leaves clues. That's one of the big things when we're talking about, asking yourself, what is this person doing right that I'm not doing? Success leaves clues. So pick up on that and you can emulate those things, and then you can make it your own as well, as you do that more and more. But being open to that is huge, because a lot of the time we just want to place blame. So even placing blame on your advertising and being like, man, my advertising, I don't have the budget for it. I've seen gyms do this and they don't get anywhere because of it. They're just stuck. So the biggest thing is taking accountability and responsibility for your situation, and also not blaming yourself, because I did say before there are three things. People blame themselves, but in a helpless way. They're like, oh no, it's me, it's my attributes, I'm just not that kind of person, or, when in fact you can do those things, or just like, oh, I'm not capable, I don't have the skills. You do. It's just going out there, talking to people, and even if you don't, you'll develop the skills along the way. Nobody is perfect before doing anything. It's always a continuous journey and progression of getting better. We all understand this for the most part. So the biggest thing is take responsibility. But also the big thing with me saying that, why that's so important, is because you also put the power back in your hands. When you blame other things, when you blame your traits, oh, I'm just not that kind of person. When you blame circumstances, when you blame other people, you're like, oh, it's because this PT is doing so well, I can't do it. Oh, because the gym's not giving me leads. You put the power in their hands. You've taken it out of your hands in your mind, when in fact the power still belongs to you. So when you take that into account and you're mindful of your language, that you place the power back in your hands, you take control of that power, and you can act in accordance with that. So yes, you still have to act and do things. And that's why I've given you a couple of practical solutions or things to implement. But the biggest thing is taking accountability and thinking, what can I do better? Because a lot of PTs are quick to say that they're doing that, but they don't actually practice that. And a lot of the time, if you find that you're struggling and if you catch yourself saying these things, oh, I'm only not successful because this PT, it's unfair, like it's because they've got this body and that. It doesn't matter. People don't care about that much. What they care about is the value in you. What if you can get them the results? That's what people care about most of all. So if you can convey that, if you can just start up a genuine conversation and convey that if it's necessary, if you can genuinely help that person, then that's how you go about getting more business in your, getting more clients, which is essentially getting more business for your coaching services, for your coaching. And that's a huge deficit that I see most PTs, a huge deficit that I see in most PTs and most coaches, is they're not willing to put themselves out there and do their outreach is the practical thing there. They're not willing to do that outreach, but they're also they'll very easily blame external circumstances. Oh, I don't have the money for this. I don't have this. The stuff I've told you is free. It's just your time. It's free in the sense that it doesn't cost you money, but it costs you your time to go out on the gym floor, to say hi to people, to message people on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, however you want to do it. It's all free stuff. It's just your time that you're giving up. So it's like you have every resource. You've just got to realize the power's within you. You can literally do all of this. You can make this happen for yourself. You've just got to go and do it. Whether or not you want to do it is another question in and of itself. But that's how it's done. And if you truly value above everything else really helping people and doing it through coaching, then you'll do whatever is required to do that. So yeah, if you catch yourself blaming gyms for your failure, you blame marketing, advertising for your failure, external circumstances, personal things happening in your life, other people being like, oh, it's because of that person. Other people can't stop you if you do not allow yourself to be stopped. You can also end up blaming yourself, but in a helpless way. If you find, oh, woe is me, I can't. Stop! You can do it. You genuinely can do this. You just have to see that for yourself, believe it, and go for it. The power's in your hands. Even if you feel like a limitation is a skill set, improve the skill set. Do something about it. Anyway, I'm getting heated talking about this one, but I love talking about this topic. Honestly, take responsibility and ask yourself. So 2 practical applications. What is this person doing right, or what is this thing doing right? Whatever it is that's working, because success leaves clues. That's number 1. So asking that, and 2, do outreach. Those are your 2 practical takeaways there, and doing that thing, being creative about finding ways to do it. And I've given you practical ways and examples of stuff you could go out and do right now if you're a PT or a coach. Those things are huge, and so I hope that's helped. But yeah, this is a topic I'm very this is a topic I'm very passionate about, as you can tell, just because most coaches, it's just like the simplest thing that's right in front of them, but they refuse to see it, or they just can't see it yet. So hopefully this has shed light on that, and you can do that. Anyway, catch you guys later. Bye.